to break down the 7 p.m. slate. I know exactly. See, this I know what I'm doing as far as my breakdown between stacks and pitchers and stuff like that. It's not exactly sure what I want to put in the bigger buy-ins as opposed to the smaller buy-ins, and I'm also waiting for some lineups to come in. That being the Angels, Texas. I think those are the two we're waiting on, or is it just the Angels? Just the Angels, at least as far as the teams that
How's it going?
I'm playing. Oh, there you are, Bobby. Sorry about that.
Hey, no, you're good.
Just so I was just saying, we're still waiting for lineups for the Angels.
Always late. It's so frustrating.
I believe. And what I was saying is, I know how I'm breaking down my teams. I mean, how I'm breaking down my plays, but I don't know exactly what I'm putting in the big buy-ins yet. Like, I know what percentages I want in general, but I have to figure out where I'm putting whatever. So, what are you doing? First of all, let's start with the pitching. What are you doing with pitching?
I think I'm playing a fairly chalky pitching combination right now. I'm only playing one lineup.
Okay.
I might end up entering a couple more while I'm on the phone. I mean, I'm sorry, after we're off this. But I have Carrasco and Sandoval right now, and I have a 4-2-2 with Houston. You can basically give away everything. 4-2-2 with Houston, St. Louis, and Baltimore. As my main.
I mean, but remember, I mean, it's not that chalky. I mean, because you're not playing Ray.
I'm not playing Ray. I also don't need to worry. I really think worrying too much about chalk for pitcher is a sucker's mistake, except for with Robbie Ray. But I think these will probably be the next two most popular, I would guess. And I don't mind it. I don't mind the idea. I don't mind Ray, Barrios, Sandoval, Carrasco would have been my favorite four, with Lance Lynn just behind. And I really want to play Logan Webb here, and I want to play Marquis, but I'm not playing that many lineups. Banks is asking about what's up, buddy? About if you're playing just one lineup on FanDuel, you just lock in Robbie Ray. It's so I don't want to get into my whole terms about lock, but if you're playing one, so technically that would be locking. Yeah, I probably would play Ray, but it really depends on who you're stacking. If you're playing Atlanta, a 4-man stack from Atlanta, and then you're playing Robbie Ray, you're going to have to get super weird with your other stack.
I don't think it's that clear on FanDuel.
Who would you say is your top?
Asking me. I mean, I think if you get a 50% ownership discount to Carrasco, I would play him.
I think he was asking both. Yeah, and that's fair. Both have something to pitch for. It's partly why I feel a little bit shaky about the Houston thing. Not that it matters. They've still been winning games since they haven't had to keep winning games. But I tend to want to play teams that are playing a little bit for something, that I don't have to worry about a defensive substitution in the 7th inning or something. I don't like the Mets at all, personally. I have respect for Pablo Lopez, but if you want to play them, that's a really low owned stack. So I don't mind if you want to go do that. Certainly, bad hitters park, obviously good pitcher on the other side. You do have some wind blowing out, but it's 67 degrees. It's nothing great. You can go ahead with it. They're really expensive for what they are. You can play Vogelbach if you want to instead of Alonso if you want to save some money, but I personally am not on the Mets at all sheets. I probably would have to get to like 16 or 17 teams before I got to the Mets. How about you?
I'm not getting to the Mets at all either.
Yeah. Yuli Gurriel, I have no interest in stacking with Houston. He's a guy I can automatic cross off basically for me with Houston, so I have no interest in Gurriel. If you want to play him at 2,200 on FanDuel, that's totally fine with me. But I don't do it. I would always be looking to try to play Mancini over him. Gurriel just is the epitome of the kind of guy you don't want to play in DFS. He doesn't have power. So the Houston guys, I'm not looking for cheap. I'm just playing my favorite four. I don't really care about the pricing because they're my main stack. And they're pretty expensive, but they're affordable-ish. You know what I mean? You could Mancini I prefer by 10 times over Gurriel. what else would I put in that stack? I mean, Alvarez and Tucker are my favorite too. I like Pena, and I like the Bregman and Altuve.
I'm playing more of the cheaper pitchers. I'm playing. I'm getting. I'm playing. I think 5 pitchers. I'm getting a full 25 to 30% of Marquis, a full 25 to 30% of Barrios. Just just for fun. And I'm also getting like 25-30% of Lynn. So those are kind of my kind of pivots, and I'm still getting like Ray and Carrasco, but I'm just a little. I guess I'm a little bit under on that. And that's where I'm kind of getting a little different. I'm playing the stacks that I liked. I mean, they're pretty chalky. I like Boston, Baltimore, Houston, Atlanta, and is that it? I think so.
Yeah, Atlanta's not as popular as I thought they were going to be, which is kind of surprising to me. I thought we'd see guys like everybody. I thought we'd see 8 players over 10% or something like that. Like I really thought that's how the stack would work. And I think you might see like maybe a bunch of guys over 8% or something. It's a small fractional difference. You said Houston you like also?
Angels. Yeah,
Angels,
the top stacks. I mean, I didn't quite. You know what you reminded me. I think I might get a couple of those St. Louisers. I forgot about that. Maybe I'll get a little of that. I like that call earlier today, and I got to force them in a little bit. So maybe 1 or 2. I'll put St. Louis. I like that. I do like the St. Louis.
Yeah, and they're affordable. You could play Dickerson, Donovan, Nootbaar, and those are all very reasonably priced. And you would want the lefties in general anyway. The thing you run into some risk with is it could turn into somewhat of a bullpen game at some point. From Milwaukee, they tend to do that with Hauser. Every now and then they'll let him go, but he usually has to be cruising pretty well. So if he's getting himself in trouble, and then you get in the pinch hit risk with what the Cardinals always do. Although with Pujols, and I believe he is in the lineup, right? If he's not in the lineup, then it's a lot scarier because he is that guy that they're always pinch hitting. But I think that's a really like clever stack to get different. I don't mind the Dodgers for those of you who want to play them. I personally am not doing it against Snell, but I certainly have no problem with it. And they did release a pretty strong lineup for what it's worth. So I have no problem with the Dodgers. I'm not doing it myself. We got Devon Anderson saying he likes Bradish. I think if you're playing giant tournaments, taking shots on guys like Bradish in these spots is a really good idea. When you get like a 2% owned pitcher that can win the slate, and there are other guys, but he's 6,100. My only argument with that would be, well, then maybe we play Barrios instead, just because there's upside. They got a lower team total against you. He's been good against the Yankees, always actually for some reason. But yeah, I think the Bradish is totally a reasonable large field tournament play. I would not play him in a single entry tournament. Would you agree with that, Sheets?
Yeah, I don't want to play him at all.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he had some fluke performance. Just to want to make that really clear.
No, he's a prospect. I mean, he's a stud.
He's a stud. They were sort of been waiting for it all year, and boy, he almost got the complete game on top of it. He would have had 50 in the last game. Would make you feel even better about fading him.
Why couldn't they let him finish?
100 pitch limit, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was a 2-0 game, so he may have allowed one runner on in the 9th, and they wanted him to get the win. I don't know.
They wanted the win, yeah, I guess so.
And it was against Houston, by the way, too. It wasn't like it was some.
He schooled him in Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was in Baltimore, but he still schooled him. You're right about that. And he was good last time he faced Boston, but not good enough where you really want a GPP, play. Boston just doesn't strike out that much at home. I always think those home road strikeout splits are so bizarre, but it's true.
It was in fact at home against Houston.
Yeah. All right. What else?
Are you playing FanDuel tonight? I'm not playing FanDuel.
No, I didn't end up getting a lineup in, and now I just.
You don't want to compete for the $80 first prize, whatever's left over there.
Yeah, I think they actually. I mean, yeah, unless you're playing the 1,650 buy-in, it's nothing that interesting, and I'm not playing that. I like Sandoval. He's in my main lineup right now, Kevin. I think that it's suspect in general to play guys. Like it's one of those things where if I play one lineup, I don't mind playing him, but if I played 150, I would be scripting him below the field. That's how I feel about him. Does that make sense to you at all, Sheets?
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that, and sometimes you go the other way. You say
Yeah,
I'll just play
no.
Robbie Ray in my big one and not the
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I'm still haven't decided what I want to do in the big one. I just don't want to play Robbie Ray. I don't think. I like your idea actually. I'll probably get a little even different than that because my stacks are a little more chalky than yours. I think I'm gonna play Carrasco with somebody else. Um, maybe Carrasco with Lynn. Maybe
Yeah, I
that's
kind
the
of like that. You know me, I love the double pairing at the same price tier.
yeah.
So I'm totally into that.
Then I got to really think about because that's spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
I want to see if what that does. That works well with your St. Louis thing. I don't know if I could do that in my big one though.
Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty feasible because you've got some cheap spot bats like sort of everywhere, except for, well, Boston has the one cheap bat. I don't think
Collis or something, or
Yeah, I don't think Atlanta has any cheap bats today.
they don't have
They have
Grisham.
Arcia and Ozuna at the bottom. Ozuna's 2.5, and he keeps hitting home runs.
Yeah, that makes the rest of it plumb.
Yeah, it makes it work a little bit. But I think that I have no problem with the Atlanta. They're actually coming in a little lower owned. Like if I was playing a single entry only, I wouldn't mind if even going with the stack. But again, I tend to like to do 4-2-2s on big slates sometimes at the end of the season because I don't see we're not having those huge eruptions by as many teams. And then if you don't have, you could have a team score 10 runs where you might get the two bats that are the only guys above like 12 fantasy points.
Why do you suppose you don't see the big eruptions towards the end because of the weather?
Well, people tend to manage their pitchers, which tends to be better. Like in the middle of the season and even early on, you want a guy, even if your guy's struggling, you want him to get it in the flow of throwing 80 plus pitches. When you have guys like Logan Webb who are throwing 60 pitches and he's got a no hitter going, and you're pulling him after he gives up a hit, it's that's part of the reason. You have teams that are most of the reason. You have teams playing minor league guys who are coming up, who are called up.
Right.
And so you have a lot of weaker spots in the lineups, and you have much colder weather that is less friendly for hitting. We were having 100-degree games every day. Now it's hard to find a 75-degree game.
There's a lot of runs scored over the weekend though.
Well, again, day games you get a boost on the weather. I always like that with Oakland and San Francisco because like if it's 80 degrees and it's the middle of the afternoon in those stadiums versus 60 degrees at night. It's just a huge difference in for your hitting.
Right.
The Twins, I have no interest in the Twins, but if you want to do it, feel free to do it. I wouldn't play the Twins if I had a ton of lineups today. Lance Lynn doesn't give up a ton of home runs. He's given up more this year than he usually does, but mostly keeps the ball on the ground and strikes people out, which are two things that are a recipe for disaster for trying to stack against. Also doesn't walk anybody really. So I don't have any interest. Also terrible hitting weather in Minnesota. Let's see. Yeah, Ozuna with 2 home runs his last 7 at bats against Espino. That's nice. Nice little boost in case you were questioning it, but it just, my initial thought was Atlanta was going to be like even more than their own. As of right now, I do think I would get to them if I was playing 3 stacks, but I wouldn't 5-man stack them. And I would probably need at least one of the hitters at the bottom of the order.
Just to make up for the ownership and stuff.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, you've got him projected a little bit more popular than Sabersim, and that's been more accurate from everything I've seen.
Okay.
But I like Michael Harris at 6%. If that's real, if that really happens, like that's a really good play.
Sandoval, Ray. Yeah, that seems to be such a solid combination.
It's true. Espino, that what Jolly is saying right in there is absolutely what the point I made about Espino earlier. He gets hit hard. He doesn't walk people. And he doesn't tend to get blown up. Like
right.
That's the argument against Atlanta for him. So I agree with that statement.
Carrasco, Sandoval.
Let's see if there's anything else that pop on in and any thoughts. It's so weird as to how different these slates are. Just, there was days we were playing where you had 7 or 8 teams with a 5.5 run total.
Right.
It's like, and you can't even find a 5 or
right.
Except for Atlanta, maybe. Are they even at 5? Yeah, they're barely at 5.
I think at the end of the day, I'm going to be a little, maybe not too chalky, but a little chalky in the bigger buy-ins. But I'm gonna have enough in the smaller ones. Some of these Barrios lineups and these marquee lineups.
Another team that, even though I said I like the pitcher a little bit, I think you could make an argument for the Yankees. And no one's playing them. I don't really see there being a huge gap. So when you have an unowned Yankees team outside of Judge, who will have some ownership as always,
right?
And they kind of they're all reasonably priced, like 4,100 for Gleyber, 43 for Donaldson, 2,800 for Cabrera. You do that with Stanton or Rizzo and Judge, and I think that could win a tournament.
Yep.
Double check Barrios' number. I know he's been good against them lately, but Barrios BVP. Yeah, for some reason, he's really good against these Yankees. I don't know what it is.
Right.
265 on base percentage, only 213 hitting. He's got a 33% K rate against them. 31% K rate. Just weird.
Do I like Tucker for Houston?
Yes.
Sure.
I'm very into the Houston idea. I love when I can just play a good hitting team at no ownership. Well, they've gotten a little more popular as the day has gone on than they were to start the day, but still not popular enough to scare me off.
I agree with that.
Guys, firing in any more questions or thoughts? I don't have a rush to go anywhere or anything like that, but me, I don't like the dead air as much. And I know Sheets is getting his last stuff together, so I am here to answer whatever. Okay. And
Lance Lynn or Carrasco? That's a very interesting question I'm asking myself right now.
Depends on the rest of your lineup.
Right. Because Lynn is going to be less owned.
Significantly, yeah.
Than Carrasco. 6. And the weather in Minnesota is fine for pitching, I presume.
Oh, it's awesome for pitching.
Yeah.
I like it, Sheets. I actually like the Lynn play quite a bit. In fact, maybe I'll just make one different version and just do a 1v1 because I can do that.
Yeah, as it turns, so this is the new construction. So what I'm going to do is in the biggest buy-in, I'm going to be way too unchalky. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 250 and the 88s, which I consider the next big buy-in, I'm going to be a little chalky in those. And then in the lotteries, I'm going to be I'm going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do. See, so the biggest buy-in, I'm probably going to be 2 off the board, but I don't care. And then in the 250, I'll be a little chalky. We'll do it that way.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hold on.
I think it does.
Oh. Did you and so depending on the schedule, or if you're going to do I told you my schedule's all kind of changed now, I think. So if you want to do another football, if you were going to do one, I'll join you or whatever. I mean, I did like a 15-20-minute football thing, a preview thing, but I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do one tomorrow if you want to. Yeah, great. I'm just gonna take a quick look at the schedule tomorrow for baseball because it's Wednesday.
So is there a thing tomorrow?
There's just always weird stuff on Wednesdays.
Okay. That just makes sense.
Oh, No, tomorrow is like a full evening slate. Wow.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's what they do during football season. They change it back.
Yeah.
I mean, we had slates on Wednesdays where like the main or the evening slate was like 3 games times,
Right.
and every team played. It just was all scattered. They'll do it. My guess is they'll do it Thursday. Let me double check Thursdays. Yeah, Thursday night. They'll probably only. Yeah, there's only going to be a few games Thursday night.
What is this? October 18th. Okay. All right. I have to ask.
Okay.
Should we look into this?
What's
This best ball thing?
Rhodey is the one who does it all the time. It feels like a lot of work, and I don't know that what edge I'm bringing to something I don't have. Why?
Well, the reason I ask is in the lobby is in the NBA best ball thing for on October 18th. So we have like a couple of weeks to figure out what to do and how to play this sport. Maybe it's worth looking into.
I mean, yeah, you do have some big buy-ins. I just don't. I understand
it a
little bit.
I don't even know the rules.
I just feel like everybody talks about how everybody will tell you they're a winner at best ball. Everybody. They're all convinced that they're up $1 million. Oh my God, if I only played best ball only all year, I win everything at best ball. Everybody thinks they're winning every best ball thing.
The best ball tournament played over 4 rounds. Rules and scoring.
I just hate this kind of stuff.
They draft a lineup via a snake draft, and contests will last multiple weeks. Each week, the highest scoring players are added to your starting lineup and counts your team overall fantasy points.
It's pretty straightforward.
Well, the scoring is the same. I'm looking at the NBA. The scoring is the same, but so it's 16 players, but it's a draft. So it drafts it automatically for you. Is that what happens?
No, you snake draft. You take one turns drafting who you want.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it just like does it automatically for you.
No.
So fast, 30-second pick, or slow, 8 hour per pick. No, I don't think I need to play 8 hours per pick.
I think you would lose your mind.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that 5 minutes won't make you lose your mind.
It's 30 seconds. That's the fast one.
Oh, okay. 30 seconds. Even that.
Right.
There's interesting strategy with the basketball because you have multiple opponents in a week and stuff like that. So you can see who they're playing. Better know the schedule really well. The best from each position is how you get your total points. But I'm playing enough DFS. I don't need to. I don't know. Yeah, there's no adding anybody.
Yeah, I just wonder if we're supposed to learn how this.
I know. I mean, I've done it. I've done best ball drafts before.
Oh, have you?
I was at RotoGrind, and I just was like, I'm not going to pay attention to the double, but I don't play season long, so I'm not going to pay attention to all these things that I'm supposed to pay attention to. And it was more for fun when I did it. I was mostly just a host.
Dude, and meanwhile, you know what hasn't run? That didn't run last year, and I retired from it. The champion was that 2+2 league I was in.
No, that's right. Oh, I forgot to ask you about it.
That's what got this whole thing started.
They took you away because they took it away because they probably are doing it without you.
No. You know, part of it was because it's 2+2 itself. Like, very few people go there anymore. So that's the same group, and you know, he would have done it with even 10 or 12 people, but you know, just he didn't get it. It was a great format too. It was like, just for those of you that are listening, it was an NFL DFS thing for the whole season. It was $1,700 per person because it's like $100 per week, sort of. And each week you put in a cash lineup, and whoever gets the most points after, say, first of all, whoever gets the most points for each week wins a little bit of money. But it's over the course of 14 weeks that, you know, whoever gets the most total points of your 14 cash lineups qualifies for the playoffs. And then in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, they narrow it down, and then the winner gets good money. And I ended up winning it the last time we played it. And that's what it was. A really, really tough field. It got me to learn how to play DFS, and that's why I called Bobby in the first place. Is I said, listen, if I want to learn if I want to learn how to play, I want to learn how to play against these good players, and that's how it started. And now I'm, you know, posting showdown slate lineups for League of Legends. You know, it's like yeah, okay. So, yep. And so I've retired from that contest. Apparently, the champion because they haven't run it since I won.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get.
Anyway, yeah. All right, I guess that's it, right?
Yeah. Good luck to everybody tonight. Well, obviously these, what's crazy is the baseball ones, we like barely can fill up the time, and basketball, it's like we're leaving and there's still 50 people trying to ask questions,
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I felt a tremor in the force.
I'm excited about it. I'm like
Yeah.
you. I need to get back to my winning ways. I'm
hey, listen, I'm in. You know,
been a losing streak here for me.
I'm in. We gotta just I gotta refocus stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Well,
sounds good. I will catch. Let's get some screenshots.